Sophie Cunningham, she did it again. Sophie Cunningham absolutely embarrassed the Indiana Fever coaches, especially Briann January, who's supposed to be the defensive guru. I mean, Stephanie White came here from Connecticut. They told me she was a defensive coach when she got here. But Sophie Cunningham blasted them, letting it be known, man, the defense sucks. Whatever they have us doing sucks. This whole thing sucks, man. We got to get into it.
Cracks inside the Indiana Fever locker room may have finally gone too deep to fix. And at the center of it all, superstar Caitlin Clark. Reports are now swirling that the chaos surrounding her has led to major heads rolling at the top of the franchise. Fans were already upset about how Clark was being used on the court, but it turns out that anger was just the tip of the iceberg. In this video, we're breaking down claims of a jaw-dropping player revolt. Word is veteran guard Sophie Cunningham stood up and went right at head coach Stephanie White, blasting the team's whole approach. The accusations are serious, holding Clark back, keeping her from running the offense, and letting White, along with assistant coach Briann January, create a toxic environment behind the scenes. But here's the thing, this isn't just one blow-up in a locker room. Sources say the situation got so bad, so obviously unfair, that league officials and Fever ownership had no choice but to step in. And when they did, they didn't hold back. Reports say head coach Stephanie White and general manager Amber Cox are both out. So stick around because we're diving into the alleged betrayal, the payback that followed, and the shocking shakeup fans believe may have just saved Caitlin Clark's future in Indiana. Hit subscribe because this story is only getting started.
We got to do that. We don't know what we're doing. Like, what? Let's get into this. You got Briann January. This is Briann January. You see her coming down right here, trying to calm Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham down on the bench. They're just disregarding her. Like, get out of here. Look, you see Sophie say, get out of my way. Get out of my face. Just get out of my face. And this is supposed to be the defensive guru that they're supposed to be listening to. They don't want to listen to no Briann January. I'm sorry. It just is what it is. They don't want to listen to Briann January, and maybe they have a point in not wanting to listen to Briann January. I mean, I think it's that simple. I mean, it is what it is. What has Briann January done?
Let's start with the moment everything reportedly blew up. The locker room revolt that may have brought the whole Fever organization crashing down. Tension had been building inside this team all season long, and people close to the situation were calling it a bomb just waiting to go off. Now on the court, Caitlin Clark kept doing what she does best. She dropped 32 points in a statement game against Seattle on July 29th. Then, just days later against Portland, she pulled off the fourth triple-double of her career, 26 points, 10 assists. Pure brilliance. But behind the scenes, a totally different story was unfolding. Whispers started spreading about a real divide forming between the players and the coaching staff. And even with all the whispers, nobody outside the team fully understood just how deep that divide had gotten. Then it happened. Sophie Cunningham reportedly walked into a private team meeting and let it all out. According to the reports, she went straight at head coach Stephanie White and assistant coach Briann January. No holding back. She accused them of failing Clark again and again at almost every turn. Cunningham's argument that the coaching staff never gave Clark what she actually needed. No real support system, no offensive freedom, no true development plan for a talent this special. And that apparently was just the beginning. That one confrontation reportedly flipped the entire mood in that room. What started out as a tense talk about game plans and accountability turned into something much bigger. A direct challenge to the coaching staff's authority. Cunningham allegedly put everything on the table. All the problems that had been quietly piling up for months. Suddenly, players, coaches, and front office execs had to face the questions nobody wanted to ask. And her point was simple. Indiana had one of the most electric offensive talents in the entire league. But the system in place was stopping that talent from taking over games the way she should. Once those words were out in the open, there was no going back. This wasn't just frustration after a rough game anymore. This had reportedly turned into a real fight, over the direction of the franchise, over how the biggest star on the roster was being treated, and over whether the coaches cared more about holding on to control than actually winning.
I mean, I thought, we were in foul trouble a lot out here, so we didn't have consistent rotations. We put them to the free throw line. We turned the ball over, got them some easy looks. I think we're better offensively and defensively than we were at that point, finding our way. And so, I think we're both different teams than we were at that moment. But all the attention to detail it has got to be there. We got to take care of the ball. We've got to make sure that we're disciplined in our defensive schemes, and we've got to defend without fouling.
What's your take on these anti-trans and women's sports rallies that have been following you guys in Seattle, Portland, and have been reported to come to the next stops in Minnesota?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think, anytime there's peaceful protest, that's people's rights, certainly. I think, when we think about the WNBA in particular, we are an inclusive league. We're a league that
Now here's where things get really ugly. Sources allegedly say Cunningham exposed something brutal. That Stephanie White would rather lose games than change her approach and let Caitlin Clark actually run the show. Cunningham reportedly called out confusing play calls, stubborn substitution patterns, and a coach who simply refused to adapt. Her argument: those choices weren't helping the league's biggest draw, they were holding her back. She also apparently took aim at Wnba in January, accusing her of backing up that same broken system. And if true, that confirms exactly what fans have been screaming for months: that the people running this team were actually working against their own franchise player. So how did White handle being called out by one of her own veterans? Did she listen? Did she try to fix things with Clark? Did she rethink the offense? According to the reports, no, not even close. White allegedly responded with anger, not accountability. And instead of fixing the problem, she reportedly went straight for payback. In one heated moment, she supposedly pushed both Clark and Cunningham away from team activities, accusing them of causing chaos, simply for speaking up. Things got so tense that leaked accounts describe Clark and Cunningham being frozen out completely, cut off from the team's inner circle.
Like, it is what it is. The game plan's whack. All of this stuff is whack. Let's see what Stephanie White had to say about it.
Addressing slippage, being able to really work, fine-tuning some details, and being able to add some things.
Slippage specifically, what do you view as those areas?
Well, there's always slippage. I mean, certainly. I think execution defensively, I think execution offensively. Really, when it comes to details, you need reps. And so the opportunity to get reps is going to be important.
This lady says a bunch of nothing. Oh, what the details? How about a better game plan from you and Wnba in January? Aren't y'all supposed to be defensive gurus? Aren't y'all supposed to be defensive gurus, Stephanie White? What is the big holdup on y'all getting the defense together? I don't understand. I'm having a very difficult time understanding Stephanie White.
Is this team where you expected them to be, just on the learning curve defensively, or are they a little bit behind maybe where you expected? How would you gauge that side?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there was a clear-cut expectation with so many new people. Certainly when you add new pieces, different from what you had, and new pieces that, some of them new to the league.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Did this lady just say there was no expectation? There was no expectation? Are you serious?
Expectation were important.
Is this team where you expected them to be, just on the learning curve defensively, or are they a little bit behind maybe where you expected? How would you gauge that side?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there was a clear-cut expectation.
And that right there, that's reportedly the breaking point. Clark didn't back down. She stood right beside Cunningham, refusing to let her teammate take the fall. And together they pushed back against what they saw as the coaching staff punishing them for speaking the truth. The locker room was reportedly split straight down the middle. On one side, coaches trying to hold on to power. On the other, two key players just asking for a system that actually gave the team a real shot at winning. And once word got out about Stephanie White, the same coach who once led Indiana to the 2015 WNBA Finals, was reportedly let go. And it didn't stop there. Amber Cox, who had only stepped into the GM role back in October 2024, was also reportedly removed, right in the middle of this massive shakeup.
agree to disagree. We're able to have difficult conversations. We're able to support one another, and we're able to still go out and work for a common good. And, I think sport is a leader in that way. I think athletics is a leader in that way. We don't all have to believe the same things in order to pull together, in order to support one another. And in that way, I wish that society was a lot more like athletics. And I think that again, it's the most important thing to me is that we take care of our locker room, and as a league and as a human, from a humanity standpoint, that we welcome everyone.
What is it like, I guess, maybe you're aware, maybe you're not aware, just the Fever brand in general has been connected to things that are not necessarily commensurate with inclusivity. Like, how do you, as an out woman, sort of feel about that?
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate. I think it's unfortunate because the brand is being used in a way that I don't think it's the people within the brand that are doing that as much. I think that social media has a big influence on that. I think, it's a very challenging time, I would say, when so much of the narrative it gets taken away in an algorithm, so to speak. And then that's what we're discussing, and that's what we're talking about. And it's the nature of the beast of where we are right now with social media and with algorithms and with bots and with all of those things, which is why the interpersonal communication, the connecting is so important.
What's your stance? What is your stance on men or athletes who test as biological male participating in women's sports? What's your personal stance?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I would say that I'm educated enough from a scientific standpoint.
Ownership apparently decided that a half measure just wouldn't cut it. So instead of a small shakeup, they went all the way, removing both the coach accused of running that damaging system and the general manager blamed for letting it drag on for so long. And when you look at the reported outcome, it points to one massive takeaway. Stephanie White reportedly lost her job because she refused to build the offense around one of the most dangerous scorers in basketball. Meanwhile, Sophie Cunningham is being painted as the player who put her own comfort on the line, who risked her spot in that locker room, just to finally break the coach's grip on this team. And buddy, the irony here is almost too much. White and Cox allegedly tried to push Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham out of the team's inner circle. But in the end, it was reportedly White and Cox who got pushed out completely. For Fever fans, this feels like a massive win, and it sends a clear warning to every other franchise in the WNBA. If just working one-on-one with player development coaches, medical staff, and the performance team, focused on basic movement patterns as she continued working her way back. When reporters pushed further, asking whether she'd be ready for the next game, White said it was still too early to know. When asked directly about her back and whether there was any more clarity on the injury, White described it as something that changes day to day. Some days feel fine. Then you wake up the next morning and it's different again. She even admitted this wasn't a brand new issue. It was a re-aggravation of the same back problem that's been nagging Clark for a while now. And that's exactly where fans started losing patience. Because here's the thing. If Caitlin Clark is dealing with a lingering back issue, and the update every single time is just another solo workout, more vague language, and no real timeline, people start asking the obvious question. Is this actually about her health? Or is this the same pattern all over again? For a lot of supporters, the message became painfully clear. Caitlin Clark needed to get out from under Stephanie White's system. Full stop. Because every update sounded the same. Vague, cautious, and honestly a little suspicious. Especially after everything that had reportedly gone on behind the scenes. So now the big question is this. With White and Cox both reportedly gone, does this actually fix things for Caitlin Clark in this franchise? Or is this just the beginning of an even bigger rebuild inside Indiana? One thing is for sure. This story is far from over. So here's what we want to know from you. Head straight to the comments and let us know exactly how you feel. Are you celebrating the reported removals of Stephanie White and Amber Cox? Do you think Sophie Cunningham deserves to be called a hero for standing up to the coaching staff and protecting Caitlin Clark? Drop your honest, no holding back opinions down below. We want to hear all of it. And if you want the boldest, most straight up WNBA coverage out there, one that doesn't sugarcoat anything, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe right now so you never miss a video. Because we are not stopping here. Every controversy, every locker room clash, every piece of drama, we are going to keep digging until the full truth comes out. Stick around because the next story might be even bigger than this one. See you in the next video.